Hello gamers, I hope you're all doing great. Let's talk E3 2018. Now for this video, I'll talk about all conferences outside of Nintendo. For my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct and the Smash Blowout, I'll make a separate video for that. I won't talk about the indie conferences nor the PC gaming show, as I had to miss out on it since I had to leave my home to wait in line for the Sony Theater experience. First up, EA. It was bad and there's nothing for me to add about it. Look, I can go on and on about their shady business practices, but let's be real here by saying they're not the only ones. My issue revolves around their games. I'm just not a big fan of them. To each their own, and I respect the opinions of others, but I am not a fan of realistic sports simulators, nor do I get excited for generic third or first person shooters. Right there, how can I enjoy their conference this year? Again, I do respect the opinions of those who disagree, but for me to have fun playing sport games, there has to be some type of gimmick or arcade feel to them, and shooters really have to impress, mainly when it comes to their level design variety. Now, having variety in their level design can be a complex subject of its own, and I may do a separate video about it sometime. Moving on with Square Enix. Their conference was completely useless, but I absolutely adored what they showed regarding Kingdom Hearts 3, even if I mainly enjoyed what they showed during the Microsoft and Sony conferences. What made it useless was how I feel they simply recycled trailers and content that was shown during the Microsoft conference for games like Tomb Raider, Captain Spirit, Just Cause 4, and an extended trailer of Kingdom Hearts 3 that I barely noticed was extended. Either that or they showed off games we already knew about without giving us any new details like Octopath Traveler. Overall, I wouldn't say their conference was bad. I think useless is a better word, and no, this has nothing to do with the lack of detail regarding the Final Fantasy VII remake. Now time for some positivity. Microsoft. They certainly delivered when it came to the quantity of games, although for my taste, I wish the number of shooters shown would be cut in half. Showing off incredible Kingdom Hearts 3 footage on their stage was a treat, Capcom proving they're focusing on their fanbase with what looks to be a solid Devil May Cry game, and I didn't expect Jump Force to be shown during their conference. For me, the biggest highlight was the acquisition of 5 first-party studios. Look, I got a Nintendo Switch, a PlayStation 4 Pro, and a gaming PC. Someone like me has no real initiative in investing in the Xbox One, thanks to the lack of any real exclusives. Now I'm pretty sure most, if not all, their so-called exclusive games will also appear on PC, but as time goes by my PC will become more and more outdated, and I would be more than willing to invest in an Xbox One X to get a 4K Blu-ray player once I get a 4K TV. With that being said, I am very interested in knowing what games they have cooking up for us, and I'm crossing my fingers they'll have at least one of those studios work on classic Rare IPs like Banjo and Conquer. Speaking of Rare, Battletoads is back. Can't wait to see that in action. Also, I'll conclude Microsoft by saying congratulations on getting me interested in a realistic racing simulator. Never thought that would ever happen, but Forza Horizon 4 was impressive. Now for Ubisoft. I think it was good, but I can't help but feel a little biased. Hearing the Super Nintendo voices of Star Fox while showing off Starlink, and then seeing Fox McCloud getting ready and flying the R-Wing was somewhat magical for me. I loved it, and fun fact, I actually pre-ordered a copy of the Starlink bundle for Switch, and I wasn't planning to originally. For me, that was the highlight, but seeing them start off with Beyond Good and Evil 2 was cool, and I'm pretty much ready to play the Donkey Kong Adventure DLC. I also missed out on most of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey reveal as I had to leave for the Sony Theater experience. I did watch the Bethesda conference as well, and although there weren't any surprises really, other than the confirmation that the Elder Scrolls 6 is in development, I thought they did a good job with the presentation. Fallout 76 looked great, and that Skyrim parody was historical. Bethesda appears to be a down-to-earth developer that doesn't mind picking on themselves a little bit. Now let's talk Sony. I'll be very honest about them, and I promise I'm not a Sony hater by any means. I think a lot of great games are available on PS4. but only 2 games caught my attention during their conference this year. That disappoints me because I expected the current sales leader this generation to show a lot more world premieres. Anyhow, those 2 games are The Last of Us 2, and of course one of my personal most hyped reveals, the Resident Evil 2 remake, which looks out of this world. However, that's sadly it. I'm not really hyped for Spider-Man, nor am I hyped for most comic book or movie adaptations, even if I did enjoy some of the Batman games. I thought Ghost of Tsushima kinda looked boring, and I just don't understand what in the world is going on in Death Stranding. Although Kojima is behind it, so at least we have a quality developer working on the game. Oh, and yeah, Kingdom Hearts 3 just keeps looking great. Can't wait for that game. Man, that and the Resident Evil 2 remake is coming out in January. That'll certainly take over my free time. So there you have it. Those are my opinions on the E3 conferences this year outside of Nintendo. Yes, I am a Nintendo fan at heart, but I by no means limit my experiences because of a brand. Although I'll sometimes get excited for certain IPs making a random appearance in games like Star Fox and Starlink. Overall, out of the conferences that I mentioned during this video, Microsoft had the most neat announcements, Ubisoft gave me the biggest smile when I saw Fox McCloud, and Sony had my favorite reveal with the Resident Evil 2 remake. So for me, I thought those 3 conferences were pretty even. I find it difficult putting one over the other. I do hear a lot of people online saying that Microsoft was the best this year, and for good reasons. Regardless, overall I thought the E3 was good, but nothing more. Not great, not amazing, just good. All conferences had content that appealed to me, as well as their fair share of disappointments. Well, I guess that'll never change, but I'll tell you something. For me personally, E3 this generation is so much more appealing than the generic garbage announcements we kept getting during the 360, PS3, and Wii generation. Sorry if that sounds harsh, but when classic developers just straight up turn their back to their fans, it's a hard pill to swallow. Whether it's Square Enix releasing Final Fantasy games nobody wanted, Capcom just straight up alienating their fan base in favor of trying to get that Call of Duty money, and they are not the only ones guilty of this, Nintendo's infamous E3 2008 disaster, or Rareware dedicated to making Kinect games and messing up one of the greatest platformers of all time, all I can say is a lot has changed, and I think most is for the better. Thank you very much for watching, and I know I had a strong opinion here, but by all means feel free to agree or disagree in the comments below. Take care you Nintendo fans and all around gamers. Enjoy gaming. Guard out.